Hey guys, making a little bit of a newer type video today. It's just got a few different things in it. It's still going to be kind of a list. It's just not a basic top 10 list. This is off of the list that I just did about the plot holes. And these are just kind of bonus ones that I thought I'd give to you guys. Sort of honorable mentions that didn't make my original list, but are going to make this list. Another thing that's a little bit new about this list is I'm actually wearing a gray shirt this time. Looking back, I realized in every single video I was wearing a black shirt. So another thing to change it up with. So anyway, in no particular order, I'm not going to do a countdown or anything like that. These are just honorable mentions that didn't make the first plot hole list that are going to make this one. A little one in Iron Man 2. It's not really something that would destroy the plot, and it is Iron Man 2, so I mean, it's not a great movie. That's the reason why it didn't make the list. But it was very successful in the box office, and it's still part of the Iron Man franchise, so I feel like I have to throw this in here anyway. In the movie, we all know that Iron Man, or Robert Downey Jr., or Tony Stark, however you want to address him in this scenario, goes directly from a party where he's being interviewed to the racetrack where he just randomly out of nowhere decides to race the race personally. Nobody knew that he was going to do this, including the bad guy. So how did he, establish this elaborate plan where he was going to break onto the track and then have all of his stuff ready and then go apeshit on all of these cars to get to Tony Stark when not even Tony Stark knew he was going to be on the racetrack that day? Another one, we have The Lion King. Now this one, it's again not one that's gonna drastically change everything, but at the end of the movie we see Scar as king and this barren wasteland of a kingdom that we associate with his failures. But I mean, the fact that he's king doesn't change the fact that it was just a random drought that happened to shrivel up all the grass and kill it. I mean, he had nothing to do with it. His plans weren't successful, but that wouldn't make him a bad king. I mean, he's still a bad guy, and he still, died. But he might not have been a bad king given environmental situations where they could have prospered. Another one, we have Sharknado. If you've seen this movie, it's one of those where it's so bad that you will enjoy watching it. The reason it's on this list is because it gained sort of almost a cult following. I mean, people and celebrities were going apeshit about this movie. It wasn't officially released as like a blockbuster type movie. It wasn't in the theaters or anything like that. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of another reason why it wasn't on the list. But if you've seen the movie, I don't even need to explain what the plot holes are, because there are hundreds of them. It's one of those movies where it's laughable. I mean, horrible writing, horrible CGI, horrible acting, horrible everything. But it was popular, so it deserves a spot on my list. Another one, you see me looking down, of course, I have my list here, that's why. Another one, we have Iron Man, the first one. Now, I didn't actually think about this one, which I probably would have included it on the list, the first list, the actual top 10 list, had I actually thought about this. But it had been recently brought to my attention that Tony Stark should have been dead. And the reason for that is once he's captured, at the very beginning of the movie, he's told to build a Jericho missile. And we sort of think about that as, oh, that's why they didn't just kill him right away, even though Obadiah Stane told them to kill Tony Stark, and then they told him the price went up and all that stuff, and they had him build the Jericho missile. But looking back on it, they had connections with everybody at Stark's company. They had connections with Obadiah's right away. So why would they need Tony Stark to build the Jericho when they can just buy the Jericho under the table like they have with all the other weapons that they had? So in reality, probably what would have happened is they would have been like, oh, you gotta pay us more. Okay, Tony Stark's dead. End of the movie's right there. Another one, we have the Fantastic Voyage. Now, if you don't know this movie, that's fine, because I've never actually seen this movie. However, the idea of this movie has been parodied and copied hundreds of times. It's the fact that, I mean, alright, basically what happens in the movie is these people have like shrinking technology, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style, and they go into a ship and they take that ship into a person to sort of help them with like an illness. I don't know all the details in the movie, but that's it. People shrink down in the ship, go into the body, they fight the problem, whatever it was, and they escape just in time, and they expand into their normal sizes again. Like I said, it's been done hundreds of times. If you haven't seen the movie like me, you have seen something where this has happened. They even did it on the Magic School Bus. So, I mean, there's something in there. However, the problem in this movie, and what I realized is many other shows and movies and anything that's done this, is they've all done the exact same issue. In the movie, what happens is their ship crashes in the person's body, and then they have to leave the ship and then leave the body, and then seconds after they get out of the body, they expand. But the ship inside the person doesn't leave, so it would still be in the person, and when they expanded, the ship would expand and the person would like explode from the expanding ship that's inside them. And that has never happened in any movie where they shrink down, go in there, leave a piece of equipment, and then leave. The equipment always just stays in the person, and we assume that it just is there, but it never expands, and the person should be dead. Last one on the list, we have Jurassic Park. Now, again, it's a great movie. This is one that I did think about when I was making the list, but the other ones just seemed bigger. This one is at near the beginning when they first see the T-Rex. Now, we all know how this happens. T-Rex happens, he eats the dude on the toilet, all that stuff happens. But the way that the main characters escape is they go basically back into the T-Rex exhibit, and they hang off the cliff type thing, and they're hanging on the wire, and they escape that way. The only problem is that didn't exist when the T-Rex first left the exhibit, and then they go through the same hole that the T-Rex broke through, and all of a sudden there's this giant ass cliff that they can just go on. It makes no sense, and without that there, T-Rex would just be like, ooh, more people I can eat, because they're moving and all that stuff, and then they'd be dead, and then the movie right there. So that's just, a couple bonus honorable mention type things. I have a bunch of lists in the making right now. One of them is kind of related to this. It's the top 10 moments that would drastically change if they followed science, which is basically like the plot hole thing, except this isn't like an issue in the writing or in the plot. It's if this were in the real world, would this really happen? Which kind of goes against this one where I said, going along with the movie logic, could these things happen? This is, just kind of exclude their science in the movie and plug in real science and what would really happen. And a lot of bad shit ends up happening. So anyway, that's just a quick little list. I might be making another frozen water video tonight. So if I do, you guys will see me again. And if not, then you'll see me again with a top 10 list or another water video. See you guys later.